Welcome back to the Spread Pick'em Show with Mike, and this time we got Andrew this week. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. I had a pretty fun, exciting weekend. How about yourself?
Yeah, did you have a fun weekend with the Eagles or no?
Yeah, I had a good time. Surrounded by Giants fans.
Yeah, it was a war zone on Twitter. A lot of upset Giants fans about that.
Yep.
I'm probably one of the 10% of people that definitely understands where the Eagles are coming from. So I don't blame you guys. You had nothing to play for. You just told me about the difference between the 6 and 9 overall picks the past few years, and the difference is large. And I've always like made the argument like, what if the Eagles wanted Micah Parsons and he went at 6, 7, or 8? You're not going to get him now, but now you have a chance to get him. And I saw a PFF mock draft that had them getting Trey Lance. Like they wouldn't be able to get Trey Lance at number 9. So like it makes sense. I mean, I feel bad for the players, of course, like anybody, because they're trying. I think they're trying at least. So you don't want to hold that against the players, but I get where management, Coach Peterson is coming from. So it is what it is. I think you're pretty satisfied though at number 6, aren't you?
Yeah, very.
I could tell. All right. So first off, the show's already effed up because I forgot to screenshot last week's results, but I'm going to look at what we had here. I know that Miami at Buffalo, I got the win there. You took Miami, you got the loss. Baltimore at Cincy was a -12. I definitely lost that. I had the Bengals, you had Baltimore. Pittsburgh at Cleveland. I took the Steelers. You took Cleveland. I do not remember I think the Steelers covered that game. It was close. They
Yeah,
won
they
by
did.
like 2 points. Yeah, so that was a close one. I got the win. Minnesota at Detroit was very close. I took the Vikings. You got the Lions. So you got the win there. I took the Jets at +3.5. You got the Patriots. You won that one. Dallas at the Giants. The Giants outright won the game, so we both got the loss there. Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was a -6.5. We both took the Falcons, and they lost by a lot of points, so a loss there for us. New Orleans at Carolina. I took the Panthers. I think the Panthers lost by a lot. I don't think I covered that game, so you probably got the win
Mm.
there with the Saints. Green Bay at Chicago. I took Green Bay. Believe they covered that one at 5.5. I think Green Bay won by like 10 or something, so they
Yeah.
got that one. You took Chicago. Jacksonville, Indianapolis was a tie. They won by four, or Indianapolis won by 14 exactly. So our seventh, or is it eighth tie of the year? I forget now. Is it eight? Yeah, 8 ties now this year for us, and that's one of them. Los Angeles Chargers at the KC Chiefs. I should have made that one a favorite bet because I felt good about it, but the Chargers won that one by a good amount. We both got that one. Las Vegas at Denver. We both took Las Vegas. They were -2, and they won by 1 point. So that's a loss. That sucks. Anyway, Arizona at the Rams. We both took the Cardinals, and a disappointing end of the year for them. Kyler got hurt at one point. The backup quarterback for the Rams comes through. They got that win there. We got the loss. Seattle at San Francisco. We both took San Francisco, and I think San Fran covered. They were pretty tight throughout that whole game, so I'm pretty sure they covered that game, got the win there. And, of course, Washington football team at Philly. We both took Washington. I guess we can thank Doug Peterson for that win, but we'll take that one. So on to the wild card round of the playoffs, and we have 6 games total. We start out with I hope these are in order, but I think the first one is Indianapolis Colts. Your Colts from this year, basically, your second team over there. They're at the Buffalo Bills, and the Bills are a -6.5. I'm taking the Bills, and you're going to go with the Colts here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at all of these spreads, really, and there's some high ones, and usually there's not that big of a difference. I mean, we'll get on to Tampa Bay and Washington a little bit later, but to me, this Colts team has been competitive all year long, and I said before the playoffs even started, maybe about 3, 4 weeks before, that there were 3 teams I could see the Bills losing to, and the Colts are one of them. So I'm not saying that the Colts are going to outright win this game. I do think they have a chance to do so, but with that mindset going on, I really can't pick the Bills covering 6.5 points. The Colts, they have been running the ball really well, and that is very that's good. That's a good sign for me because you see sometimes Philip Rivers not be able to throw the ball and they kind of get stuck on offense. Now they have Jonathan Taylor, the true running back #1, as I predicted before the season. You have him running all over the place, so it's really good. It's almost like the Titans in a sense, where if one thing's not working, you can switch to the other and do it really well. I think Indianapolis is almost built in a way to beat a Buffalo team like this. It's going to be hard because Josh Allen has been playing at such a high level, but -6.5 for Buffalo, it's just a little too much for me. I'm going to go with my Indianapolis Colts.
I see why you think that, but the way I look at it is the Bills are going to have fans there for the first time, I think, all year. And that team is rolling right now. I'm trying to pull up their schedule, what they've been doing recently. They have won now 6 games in a row, and they're outscoring people like crazy. They beat the Chargers by 10, San Fran by 10, the Steelers by 11. They won 48-19 against Denver, 38-9 against New England, and then 56-26 against Miami. This team's on a roll right now. And I think the Colts are kind of fraudulent. I don't really fully buy into them. You put Phillip Rivers outdoors instead of indoors. He's played in San Diego, LA, indoors his entire career, basically. Not saying he can't play outdoors, but it's not the conditions you want to see a Phillip Rivers in. So based on how well the Bills have played, their defense has been looking a lot better the past month and a half or so. I just like them a lot. I think they can win this game by 10 or so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like the Bills are in a much better spot right now. I think they're on a roll, and I know the Colts are playing pretty well. They can run the ball very well, and overall in the season, the Bills have had their struggles against the run, so that is a concern in the back of my mind. But I just feel like the Bills are one of the hottest teams in football right now. I don't want to stand in their way, and I know 6.5 is a good amount, but as I said, I think they can win by 10 or so. So I will take the Bills there. So a nice little, we're going against each other on the first one. We're going against each other on 4 of these 6 games. So that is a positive here. You're down by 5. Maybe you come back here and make it a 1-point deficit for the next round, the divisional round. Next, we're on to the LA Rams, and maybe it's Jared Goff, maybe it's not. We'll find out. They're at the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle's on -3.5. I'm taking Seattle. And just like your second team, this is probably your third team, you're going to take the Rams here.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Rams because I'm almost sure that Jared Goff is going to play. I know there's something wrong with his finger, but when there's playoff time, when there's something going around, you got to make the playoff game. You usually play a little injured if you have to. And I love Sean McVay against teams that he sees often. He knows how to game plan against them. His defense is really, really good. They can get to the passer. They can defend really, really well. And I kind of see this a lot with Seattle. When Russ has nowhere to go with the ball and he sees this game slipping away just a tiny bit out of his favor, he starts to go a little bit wild with the ball, tries to force things. I'm not saying that's going to happen in this game, but I think if the Rams get off to a quick start, you could see that start to develop over time because we've seen it time and time again with Russell Wilson, obviously not having that much help on the offensive line, kind of scurrying around the pocket a little bit. But this LA Rams team, when they play teams that they're familiar with, they're usually pretty good. So I feel pretty comfortable taking them. I know they played a pretty poor game last week without their starting quarterback, and if that's the case this week, I really don't have anything to go with. But I feel like Jared Goff, if he's injured, he's going to be pretty conservative on offense, and I think that's what you need to do against Seattle. Kind of make your defense beat Seattle away, put some pressure on Russell Wilson, and I think the Rams will do just that.
Yeah, I'm going to trust what Jamal Adams said, and I know that based on the numbers, the Seahawks defense has been crap, but he says they have not played their best football yet, and I hope that's the case. And there are games where the Rams just look very out of sorts. I mean, that Jets game a few weeks ago was a prime example of it. And I think that guy, Wolford, the backup, played relatively well, had an interception, but he ran the ball pretty well. He was like running for 10 yards a carry, basically. So that adds an element to the Rams offense if Jared Goff doesn't play. I personally, for someone that's betting the Rams, or not betting the Seahawks, would rather see an injured Jared Goff play than this Wolford guy. Maybe it's crazy to say, but give me the injured Jared Goff who cannot move around as well. If the Seahawks can get to the quarterback, I feel like this will be a pretty ugly game, and I feel like this one has the chance to get out of hand. Now, I know it's the divisional matchup. They tend to play closer games, but at the same time, if Jared Goff's injured, they have Michael Brockers on the COVID list, Cooper Kupp. We'll see if they come back. I'm not positive. But if those guys are out as well, that's a big loss. And I do like the Rams defense a lot. They're tough to score on. But I don't know. If you have no offense for the Rams, how long can a Rams defense contain a Seattle offense that has the ability to be explosive? I feel like they cannot do that for a full 60 minutes. And plus, it's only 3.5 points. Like, I will take the Seahawks in that situation. So once again, I could definitely see the Rams winning, but I think if it goes the way I think it will, and Jared Goff is playing injured and Seattle's getting pressure, I'm not going to rule out the possibility that this one can get ugly. So we'll find out. But I do like Seattle quite a bit in this one, so I'll take them. Next game is, I guess this is the last one for Saturday night. Tampa Bay at the Washington football team. Tampa Bay is a -7.5 on the road. We're on the same page here. We're both going to go with Washington.
Yeah, the defensive front, it's too scary for me for Washington to go this high in the spread. I think it's 7.5, like you said. So it's a little too high for me, especially when Tampa, sometimes plays down to their opponents, especially when they're struggling offensively. And that's probably going to be the case against a Washington defense that's been really, really good. Now, last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, kind of scares me a little bit offensively for the Washington football team. Didn't really see what I liked from Alex Smith. His mobility was not there as it usually is during the season. I know he's still, probably still recovering a little bit from that leg injury, but he was a little more mobile towards the end of the season. Didn't really see that last week. So that is something scary, especially because that Buccaneers defense is so good. But the front for Washington, it's too good for me to pick them in a 7.5-point spread. I think Tom Brady can get flustered at times. Obviously, the playoffs is not where he gets flustered at all. But if you get enough pressure in his face with some big guys on that defensive front, I think this game will be relatively close. Now, it doesn't even need to be necessarily close for the Washington football team to cover here. They could score a late touchdown down by 14 and still cover the game. So I'll take my odds on that one, and I'll go with Washington.
Yeah, I will as well. And I'm looking now. Washington's defense has not allowed over 20 points to a team since November 15th. And that's like 6 or 7 games. They held the Bengals to 9, Cowboys to 16, Steelers to 17, 49ers to 15, Seahawks to 20, Panthers to 20, and then, of course, 14 with the Eagles, who may not have been trying. But still, it's been very impressive the past 2 months what Washington has done on defense. And I know Tampa Bay the past couple of weeks has looked very scary offensively. Now, I don't know the status of Mike Evans. He definitely looked very hampered in that game. I think it was some type of calf or ankle injury. So if he's out, that definitely bodes well for the Washington football team. And as a Giants fan that has watched 2 Super Bowls against Tom Brady, I know the one way to beat him is to get, in his face, knock him down a lot, throw him off his game. And I feel like Washington has the pass rush to do that. Now, if they don't get the Brady, this could be an ugly game because I don't trust Washington's offense all that much. Terry McLaurin is playing through an ankle injury. He played through it last week, but he's definitely not 100%. Antonio Gibson was not hurt too long ago. And Alex Smith definitely does not look too healthy right now. So they have that going against them. And if they can just somehow find a way to put up even like 14 to 16 points, I feel like the defense will do well enough to hold this game close enough. You know what I mean? So I could see it being like a 21-16 type victory for the Buccaneers or something along those lines. But as long as that defense shows up, which they have been doing a lot recently, I feel like this might be a closer game than the spread anticipates. So with that being said, I will take Washington there. On to Sunday's game, a rematch from last year, Baltimore at Tennessee. Last year it was Tennessee at Baltimore. This time it's reversed. But Baltimore is a -3.5. I'm taking the Titans, and you're going to go with Baltimore here.
Yeah, I don't really know where your head's at with this Titans pick, Mike, because they're just too vulnerable on defense. I get it. They can get it done on offense, but let's not forget this Ravens defense is actually pretty good. Now, I know they struggled against the Browns, which is honestly the closest team I see to the Titans. They can run the ball. They can pass the ball. They can really get it going once they get it going. So I guess the Titans are almost like the Browns in that sense, and you saw the Browns put up a lot of points on the Ravens. But this defense for the Titans is too vulnerable. I mean, they were giving up everything and anything to Deshaun Watson and the Texans, and I get it. Deshaun Watson's had a great, fantastic year with no help whatsoever, but that's the problem. He had no help whatsoever. And if this defense is allowing that many points to that offense, just think about what they're going to do to this offense. Now, I get it. There's a weapon problem too, but Lamar Jackson seemingly has developed a connection with some of his new receivers. Des Bryant, Marquise Brown has been getting more targets. You see Mark Andrews go up in the charts a little bit more each and every week. So I'll take Baltimore. I think they're going to win this game. I'm pretty sure they are. I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans somehow do win this game. But I feel like if the Ravens figure it out, they're going to win this game, and they're going to win by a pretty decent margin.
Okay. It's going to be it's tough for me to sit here and kind of go against Baltimore because they have played so well recently. But I look at the Titans and kind of hope that history repeats itself because we saw last year they had no answer whatsoever for a guy like Derrick Henry who just rushed for over 2,000 yards, pretty good player. If they can't stop him again, then I don't really see a way that the Ravens find a way to win this game. But on the other hand, as you mentioned, Baltimore has, I think, the best rushing attack in football. So if Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards are rushing, for 7 yards a carry or something combined, it's going to be tough to stop them as well. So this will be a long game that drags on. A lot of running the ball. Clock will be moving, so it might go by very fast. But I feel like the Titans have a better passing attack. And I know this is the difference, though. Baltimore's defense is a little better. Oh, probably a lot better, honestly. But I think that the Titans have a much better passing attack. So to me, those things kind of even out. And really, what this game is, when I came into it, I said I'm just going to take the points because I look at this as a very even matchup. And now I get over a field goal basically with 3.5. So with that being said, and I know the Titans are the home team here, I mean, I don't know. I don't feel good about it, but for the sake of the show, I got to take the Titans. Like, can they cover Corey Davis, Jonnu, and A.J. Brown the entire game? Like, when Derrick Henry's killing you and the play action's working, that's when Tennessee has great offense. And they did it last year. I just feel like they can do it again here. I don't see why not. I mean, Baltimore, I want to look up real quick how they've been against the run this year. Like, I feel like, let's see, yards per game, Baltimore. I mean, they're not towards the – are they towards the top? They might be in like the top 10 or so. They're like 7 or 8. So they're pretty good against the run, but Derrick Henry's a different animal. So if they give him 25, 30 carries and he finds ways to break off big runs, then I think it'll bode in their favor. So I will take the points. I'm going to go with the Titans there, but I'm definitely not as confident as you are about that one. I'll put it that way. Next game is the Chicago Bears, who got that last spot. They're at the New Orleans Saints, the number 2 seed. New Orleans is a -8 at home. I'm going to take the Saints here, and you're going to take the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, give me the Chicago Bears. I mean, look, they've been putting up a lot of points lately, and you can go off of last week and say, well, look, Andrew, I mean, they really didn't perform well against the Packers. They were trying to do too much in that game. They were trying to force things when things didn't need to be forced. You saw some dumb pass plays on 4th and 1 where David Montgomery was going for like 4 or 5 yards a carry. And then instead of even using Mitchell Trubisky to just run up the middle and do a QB sneak, you do a rollout and a pass. I mean, it was kind of stupid playing calling at that point. But I feel like in the playoffs, good defenses tighten up. When you need your defense to be there, they're usually there. When you have a good defense in the playoffs, they usually show up. And this Chicago Bears defense, when they show up, when they show that they're given offense like the Bears have been giving them lately, they will show up in this game. And this is a very high spread. This is the highest of the weekend. So I feel like Chicago lately has been picking things up offensively. That's also been helping them defensively. I really just don't see how it can be this big of a margin. I don't understand it. I don't know where Vegas is coming from in that sense. Chicago's played in a lot of close games lately. If you disregard last week against the Packers, they put up a lot of points on offense, and their defense, I'm pretty sure, is going to be very, very good in this game. So I feel comfortable taking Chicago.
I just like the Saints in this matchup because of the veteran experience on the Saints, who have been to the playoffs every year since 2017 now. And I think I'm looking up right now, is Alvin Kamara going to play or not? It seems like he is, so that's definitely something that I'm happy about. I like the matchups here because the Saints are the 4th best defense against the run this year. They hold opponents to under 100 yards rushing. And David Montgomery, while he's looked amazing the past 2 months or so, you can't really run on the Saints defense. Like, they are one of the best run defenses in the league that the league has to offer. And you look at Allen Robinson, he's faced up against Marshawn Lattimore. I don't feel great about that much matchup for the Bears either. So I feel like they can take away 2 of the Saints' biggest weaknesses. Can we get the ultimate revenge game and a 3-touchdown game from Jimmy Graham? Maybe we do, but I think it's pretty highly unlikely. So, I mean, I do respect Chicago's defense and all, but I feel like the Saints are a bit better. The Saints offer the better offense, and to trust Mitch Trubisky on the road in it's not his first playoff game, but a guy that was benched for Nick Foles at one point this year while he's looked better. The Bears crapped on a lot of bad teams. They were beating up Jacksonville, Houston, Detroit. They played a real team in the Packers, and the Packers and Saints, I mean, they're kind of neck and neck. I feel like the Packers are a bit better, but we saw what happened there. I mean, the Packers won by a decent amount. So I feel like I like the matchups a lot more for the Saints. I like the fact that Drew Brees is probably playing in his 200th playoff game here. Compared to Mitch Trubisky. So with that being said, I'll take the Saints. I feel pretty good about it, so I might take them as a favorite bet. Right. We'll find out at the conclusion of this last game, and there is some COVID stuff going on here. Who was it? Kevin Stefanski. What's the guy's name? Bitonio, the guard for the Browns as well. He's out this game. So they have some COVID stuff going on in Cleveland. But right now, Pittsburgh, who is at home in this game, is a -6. It was -4.5 at first. Now it's dropped to 6. But we both like the Cleveland Browns here.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns regardless because you know what? They just established the run so beautifully. And I know that they're going to be missing a big offensive lineman this week. I understand that. And they're going to be missing Mr. Mike Stefanski over here, which is what I like to
You
call
gotta
Mike because he
stop with that.
looks just like him when he has a mask on. But yeah, they're
Okay,
going to be
all right.
missing some. These are some key guys. Yeah, put on your mask for them. Let's show them how it's done. Cleveland's been great, and they're going to be great in this game. I understand last week, okay, they almost lost to Mason Rudolph. I get it, all right? They weren't necessarily trying their hardest in that game. It's not that big of a deal. Let's not get, all stressed out. Week 17 is a very weird week for many teams, all right? So I don't really follow Week 17, just like I don't follow Week 1 because I think those are two very tricky weeks. But yeah, Cleveland's a good team. They're going to be able to establish the run, and they're going to be competitive. They got that chip on their shoulder. Cleveland has not been to the playoffs in 18 years. Everybody knows the history. And these people on this team, it's not like they're veterans that have been to the playoff either, right? You're going to miss Olivier Vernon, which is, I think, a name you forgot to mention. He tore his Achilles. That's another big miss. You don't have much playoff experience, which hurts them, but also helps them at the same time because they're ready to go, ready to run through a wall for their interim head coach. So I'm going to take Cleveland. I like how it dropped to +6 for them because I actually took Pittsburgh when they were -4. So I'm pretty comfortable with it.
I need to say the Browns were absolutely trying in that game. It just happened that they, kind of let the Steelers in it too much. Like they kind of had to win because I feel like they played at 1 o'clock and so did the Dolphins. So like they kind of went into it knowing they had to win that game. And I know they only won by 2 against the backup quarterback and whatnot. But at the same time, I don't know. I just think Pittsburgh is a team that I don't want to say they're not good, but we saw who they are the past month and a half. Like they are not that great as people may have thought based on the 11-0 record at one point. And Cleveland being down Kevin Stefanski, and we'll take a look right now. This is like half a mask, but do I look like Kevin
Just
Stefanski?
like
I
him,
mean,
just like him.
we have
Yeah.
the same eyebrows and the same eye color, maybe the same hair, although he wears like a hat every time, but I'll get a hat next time too. But anyway, this is more of like a pick against Pittsburgh. And I love Baker Mayfield. I love what the Browns offense is going on this
Yeah.
year. I don't think it's easy to run on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll take a look real quick, but I'm pretty sure against the run, they've been a pretty good team this year. I mean, they're
It might
what
be
is it
number
like
one.
ninth? They're like ninth or 10th now. Tampa Bay's
Oh,
the number
really?
one. Your Colts are 2. Your Rams are 3. So Andrew loves those good run defenses. They
Oh, I
are right
love him.
next to the New York Giants actually at number 10, I believe. So Pittsburgh can stop the run better than most teams, but when you stick with it and you stick with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb for an entire game when the game script's going to be close, I don't really see a way that Pittsburgh really pulls away by a lot unless the Browns are turning the ball over and beating themselves. But Baker Mayfield has shown this year he does not turn the ball over as much as he did last year, for instance. He's been very – I don't know if conservative is the right word, but he's not making the risky decisions that he did in the past. So if Baker Mayfield's playing a mistake-free game, unless the Steelers luck into some like fumbles by Donovan Peoples-Jones or some random guy out there, then I feel like the Steelers won't win by more than 6. I think the Steelers can definitely win this game, but I do think the Browns are alive as well. I see it as more of like a 2 or 3 point spread in my mind. So to see 6, I was like, maybe this COVID thing for them is a blessing in disguise from a betting standpoint because I do like Cleveland to at least keep this one very close. So we'll go with that. But who would be your favorite bet this week? Because I think we're going to do one this week. I have
Yeah.
mine if you don't want to go first, but
Yeah, you can go first. I'll mull it over
all
a little
right.
bit more.
You did mention this was the highest spread, but I feel really good about the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to go with them. I have not gotten the favorite bet right in like 2 weeks now, so I would definitely not take my advice on that one. But I basically laid it out before. When you think about it, the Montgomery matchup for the Bears, not good. You think about the Robinson matchup, not good. Mitch Trubisky against Drew Brees, the experience, not good. So when the Bears can't run and they can't throw to the one guy who's a really good receiver on their team, I just don't know how the Bears generate much offense. And I did say I do respect the Bears defense, but if Drew Brees is getting the ball out quickly and getting it in the playmakers' hands, I believe Michael Thomas is back, right? Because he was on IR the last 3 weeks of the regular season, so I'm pretty sure he's back. They should get Kamara back. They're just fully stacked on offense. I feel like they'll win this game by 10 or more, so I like the 8 number for the Saints. I will take New Orleans there.
I'm stuck between 2 here, but I think I'm going to go with Washington. I'm going to trust their ability to get some pass rush on Tom Brady. Obviously, you mentioned that before. If that doesn't happen, It's going to be a pretty ugly one. So I don't necessarily have like a favorite bet that I might actually go and bet right now. We're filming this kind of early in the week, so I might let it go a little bit more, see how the spreads change over the week. But yeah, I'll go with Washington covering 7.5.
And
Oh,
how you
seven
don't
and a
feel
half.
too confident about it? No.
No, 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 not the greatest.
I'm gonna be honest, it's hard to feel confident in most of these spreads. Like the ones I feel best about are Buffalo, Seattle, and New Orleans. I mean, I don't know who to pick in that Washington game. I don't know who to pick in that Tennessee game. That's like a coin flip to me, literally. And the Browns are getting a pretty good number, but what's gonna happen with COVID from
Yeah.
Wednesday to Sunday? We have no idea. So that's kind of the negative of doing the video early, but it is what it is. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I guess join us next week for the divisional round. There is a chance Andrew's only down by 1 game next week, which would be nice for him. But so far, he is still down 5. So we'll see how the rest of the year plays out up until the Super Bowl. Andrew, any words before we wrap up here?
No, I
You're
got nothing.
speechless. All right. He's
Yeah.
speechless. All right. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll talk to you next time.